The Sculptor's Lament. Marco stood before his latest creation, chisel in hand, frozen in indecision. The marble figure before him was nearly complete, a man in deep contemplation, head resting on his hand, body twisted in a pose of inner turmoil. It was, without doubt, Marco's finest work yet. But something was missing. He had labored tirelessly for weeks, pouring his heart and soul into every curve and contour. The sculpture was meant to be the centerpiece of his upcoming exhibition, representing human introspection and vulnerability. Yet as he studied it now, in the fading light of his studio, Marco felt a gnawing dissatisfaction. He sighed, setting down his tools. The problem, he realized, wasn't with the sculpture. It was with him. Once, sculpting had been Marco's passion, his reason for being. He had spent years honing his craft, studying under masters in Florence and Rome. His early works had garnered praise and attention, marking him as a rising star in the art world. But lately, the joy had gone out of his work. Each new piece felt like a struggle, a battle against his expectations and the weight of others' opinions. The pressure to create something meaningful that would touch people's hearts and stand the test of time had become overwhelming. Marco slumped to the floor, mirroring the pose of his sculpture. He thought back to the day he had first conceived of this piece. It had come to him in a moment of clarity, inspired by a homeless man he had seen in the park. The man had been sitting on a bench, lost in thought, his weathered face a map of life's hardships. Marco had seen the universal human experience of reflection and struggle in that instant. But now, seeing his creation, Marco wondered if he had captured that essence. Had he merely created a technically proficient but soulless imitation of human emotion? Marco remained on the studio floor as the night deepened, lost in his contemplation. He thought about his journey as an artist, his sacrifices, and the relationships he had neglected in pursuit of his craft. Was it all worth it? Hours passed, and as the first light of dawn began to filter through the high windows of the studio, Marco stirred. His body ached from the cold floor, but his mind felt more apparent than it had in months. He stood, stretching his stiff muscles, and approached the sculpture again. In the soft morning light, he saw it with fresh eyes. Yes, there was technical skill in the work, but there was also something more. In the curve of the figure's back, he saw his weariness. In the tightness of the jaw, he recognized his determination. And in the pensive expression, he found a reflection of his soul-searching. Marco realized that he had poured his struggles and doubts into the marble without intending to. The sculpture wasn't just a representation of human introspection, it was a self-portrait, capturing this pivotal moment in his artistic journey. With trembling hands, Marco picked up his chisel once more. He worked with renewed energy, making minor, precise adjustments. He deepened the lines around the figure's eyes, accentuating the weight of experience. He softened the curve of the shoulders, adding a touch of vulnerability. As he worked, Marco felt a shift within himself. The passion that had been dormant for so long began to stir. He remembered why he had fallen in love with sculpting in the first place, the ability to breathe life into stone, to capture fleeting emotions and make them eternal. The hours flew by, and as the sun reached its zenith, Marco stepped back, breathing heavily. The sculpture was complete. But more than that, it was alive. It seemed to pulse with an inner energy, radiating the complex mix of emotions that had gone into its creation. Marco smiled, feeling a weight lift from his shoulders. He realized that his period of doubt and struggle had been necessary. It had forced him to confront his fears and insecurities and dig deeper into his psyche. In doing so, he had created something truly authentic. Marco's mind was already racing with new ideas as he cleaned his tools and prepared to leave the studio. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, a burning desire to create. But this time, he would approach his art with a different mindset. He would embrace the doubts and struggles as part of the creative process, understanding that they gave his work depth and meaning. When it opened a month later, the exhibition was a resounding success. Critics and art lovers alike were moved by the central sculpture, praising its raw emotion and technical mastery. Many stood before it for long periods, lost in their reflections. But for Marco, the true victory was internal. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment as he watched people engage with his work. He had created a powerful piece of art and navigated a crucial juncture in his own journey as an artist. In the years that followed, Marco's work continued to evolve. He became known for sculptures that seemed to capture the essence of human experience, joy, sorrow, love, and contemplation. But he always remembered the lessons learned during the creation of that pivotal piece. Every so often, when doubt began to creep in, or inspiration waned, Marco would return to his studio and sit on the floor, assuming the pose of his sculpture. In those moments of quiet reflection, he would reconnect with his younger self, the artist who had poured his soul into cold marble and found himself in the process. And each time, he would rise with renewed purpose, ready to face the blank stone and transform it into something beautiful, one chisel stroke at a time.